Thank you for tuning in to hear a little bit about the review of the Millwright Infant School Behaviour Policy, which we are undertaking at the moment. So we have got 3 key words that we use to support the children with their behaviours in school. And hopefully you'll be really familiar with these words, having heard your children use them plenty already. The 3 words are ready, respectful, and safe. These key words underpin expectations in school. They're used to help children to think about their behaviours, and they are used when we are sharing positive feedback to our children about their work or their conduct. So let's go through those 3 words and talk about how they're going to feed into our behaviour policy. So these 3 words, ready, respectful, safe, are there to ensure the children have got very clear boundaries. The word ready shares the expectation that when children come into school, they are ready to learn. That's about conduct behaviours, sitting so that they can see and hear clearly. It's about having the correct equipment ready, having a pencil to hand, making sure they are sharing resources and equipment that's been put on the table. We also expect the children to be ready to listen. We expect them to make eye contact, if possible, with the person who is speaking. We expect them to make sure that they are not being distracted by anything else, and where they are being given resources to use, that those resources are not causing them to become a little preoccupied. We also want the children to be ready to make a difference. The whole ethos of Millwright Infant School is about creating children, shaping children who are ready to go out into the big wide world and make a really positive contribution. Our children should be ready to make a difference. We teach them to look out for those who are struggling. We teach them to make conscious decisions to support our environment. The word ready is absolutely paramount in the expectations within our school. The second word that hopefully your children are starting to use a lot more is the word respectful. We can be respectful by the way we communicate, making sure that we are using an appropriate tone of voice, that we are looking at the situation and the circumstances within which we are sharing information and behaving accordingly. For example, not using an outside voice when sat in the classroom. We can be respectful by how we treat the environment. Our children are really keen to make a difference. They don't want to see litter outside. They want to be recycling. And this respect for Mother Nature is something that we harness and encourage further through our weekly beach schools. Finally, respectful is all about how we treat members of both our school community and the wider community. It's about ensuring that every adult is treated with the same respect, that every child your child comes across is also treated with the same respect. And that kind of lesson is so important in school. The final word is the word safe. We need to be safe in our conduct. So that's about how children move around school, moving calmly, not running, ensuring chairs are pushed in, resources are put away so that children aren't tripping over. It's also about children learning to manage risk, thinking before they do something. Is this safe? Might I put myself or somebody else in danger by what I'm going to do? So these 3 words, ready, respectful, safe, will be the rules for our school. We don't need lots and lots and lots of rules because each of those 3 words has many, many connotations. With relationships and behaviour, relationships are absolutely key, and relationships are built on respect. So we believe that everyone is responsible for their own behaviour. Yes, people bring different life experiences, different expectations from families and friends, but we know that at the end of the day, you are responsible for the way you behave. So we use a restorative approach to help children understand the effect that they have on others. Staff model the use of positive language and behaviour and take time to develop meaningful relationships. Small things like staff being available in the morning on our one-way system and greeting children by name, noticing when something's different about them, noticing when they're wearing a badge or a medal or they're walking in a particularly jolly way, all of those things make connections, and connections are absolutely key. Staff will reinforce positive behaviour with descriptive phrases. We don't want to hear good girl, good boy, well done, given out willy-nilly. What we really want to hear is children having it highlighted what part of their behaviour is particularly noteworthy. For example, I notice the way you are sitting, you are really ready to listen, thank you. Or well done, you were very respectful when you held the door open for your class. By making behaviours explicit and drawing the children's attention to those that they have done that are positive, we can help to reinforce those behaviours so they become a lot more prevalent. Staff will model the use of behaviour, positive behaviour, as a basis for which to support children when things go wrong. Negative behaviour will be dealt with fairly. The focus will be on taking responsibility, repairing any harm done, and rebuilding and restoring damaged relationships. We recognise that sometimes children need space and quiet to be able to regulate. Time will be given to children who need this, either because they are heightened or because they need to consider what has gone wrong without the hustle and bustle going on around them. This is not a seclusion, this is not a punishment. This is our recognition that sometimes a couple of minutes quietly allows you to take stock of what has happened. Restorative questions are then to be used to help a child identify what has gone wrong and how things can be made right. Very simple questions will form the basis of that restorative conversation. The first of that being, what has happened? Fact gathering. It's really important for everyone who's been involved in an incident of poor behaviour to have an opportunity to share what has happened. Then it's important to find out what the thinking process behind that was. So what were you thinking when it happened? Sometimes behaviours occur because children are angry, upset, or unsure. Sometimes children are bringing problems in with them that have occurred before school, the previous night. A nightmare has unsettled them, so we really need to unpick what were you thinking when the problem happened? What did you feel inside when it happened? We do a lot of work with the children so that they understand the physiological manifestations of emotion. For example, sweaty palms, racing heartbeat, a feeling of panic, sometimes the inability to be able to answer a question. All of those things can happen when you are feeling heightened and things have gone wrong. Because our restorative approach is based on relationships, then we need to find out how you are now. So there's been a problem, things have gone wrong, maybe there's been calling out in class, maybe there has been some unkind hands at playtime, but we need to make sure that you are actually in a place to be able to put things better. So how are you now? And then we move into the really important part of this conversation. Who else has been affected? Now, children take a long while to develop empathy. Empathy is a skill that quite often isn't fully formed until children are in the junior school. Developmentally, that is perfectly normal. So we help, we model, we explain to children what they might notice about others, which allow them to see how their behaviour has affected those others. And then we move into the rebuilding and restoring. So what do you need to feel better yourself? If there has been an incident and a child has found that they have been unable to follow our already respectful and safe guidelines, then actually we need to make sure they are themselves regulated, able to make things better. And finally, what happens what needs to happen even to put things right. Gone are the days when children were marched into a room and made to say sorry to someone when they actually have no notion what they're apologising for, and it's just words. So actually putting things right is really powerful. It now enables a child to identify what the issue was, how it has affected both themselves and someone else, but it allows them to make it right. In our society, we expect people who have kind of stepped out of the social norms, who have made mistakes with their behaviour, to be able to put things right. As adults, we will model that. And this restorative approach will feed right the way through our behaviour policy, which we are going to rename a relationship policy. Now, your children have been living this since just before the summer, those of you that were there. The staff has done an awful lot of work and training for the school to become an attachment and trauma-aware setting. We recognise that we have a significant impact in the life of your children. What we want for them is for those children to be well-adjusted, confident young people. Know that when things go wrong, they are not powerless. They can make a difference, they can make things better, and over time, they will become much more able to regulate their emotions so that the issues that cause problems within school lessen. Hopefully this gives you a good oversight of our ready, respectful, safe approach to managing and supporting children with positive behaviours. If you do have any feedback or any questions, then you can email myself, and you can use the year group emails for that. And if you can just put as your email header relationship policy. Thank you very much for your time, and see you all soon. Goodbye.